Hello everybody, welcome back to Nelson All Over Cards. I am here at PAX Unplugged and having just the most wonderful time of my life, but just got through with a very exciting presentation, the In-Flight Report from FFG Flight Games. This is where they announce the big upcoming changes for pretty much every product that they produce under the FFG umbrella that just finished, and this video we're going to do a quick overview of what they talked about there. They do have a live stream, they live streamed it, so I will link the full live stream down below, but this video is probably going to be a lot shorter than that, so if you're looking for highlights, especially for Marvel Champions, because that's where we'll be spending a lot of our time, you are at the right place. If you are curious about a full in-flight report for my packs, just taking their branding, if you're interested in a full recap of packs as well as a deeper dive into the in-flight reports, I will be doing that on Tuesday during my live stream at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. But I felt like today it's time to recharge with some caffeine and talk to you about what is coming up for FFG. So it was a really fun, exciting, high-energy presentation. The presenters were fantastic. We got to see a lot of new products, and we got something that we don't normally get. We got a huge roadmap of products. We got all of the products for Star Wars, Arkham, their board game collection, as well as Marvel Champions, the names of those products that are coming to us in 2026. A lot of the times, it's just kind of been a teaser for what's coming next. And so this is a little bit of a change from what they have done historically, and I'm a big fan of it. I like knowing that we're getting the street level defenders and champions, that we're getting these cool new Gamegenic accessories for the Arkham Horror product line. That's really cool to know, especially for what's going to be winter in 2026, literally a year from now. We now know what we're getting for our favorite games. I love the transparency there. Knowing the titles, but not necessarily the content, is really special. I will put video time marks down in the video description, which will populate through the video, which will help you jump around to whatever you care about the most. But we are going to go through my notes, and we started off at Arkham. So Arkham, they have announced back on Halloween that there's a new core set coming in 2026. They're calling it Chapter 2, I believe. And it's just a new and exciting time to jump into the Arkham system if you have not done so already, or even if you have. This has a lot of, well, I think it's all new content. I don't think there's any redone content, so that's actually really exciting. Duke came up to talk. They're one of the designers for Arkham set, Arkham 2.0. It's going to come with like connection tokens as well as card dividers, things that the community has been asking for from FFG, and now they're putting it into the box, which is going to be something that is going to be really helpful to the gameplay in terms of like tokens and everything. They did announce that there are going to be they had already announced 2 investigators. They announced Daniela Reyes, which is a Guardian, Dexter Drake, a Mystic, and Trish Scarborough, a Rogue. And I should have, if I've done my editing job right, maybe those will be on the screen as I'm talking. But they announced those as the 3 other investigators that are coming in the core box, along with the 2 that they had previously announced. And then they also made the announcement that there's going to be 4 Arkham products per year. Those can be investigator decks, those can be campaign expansion scenarios, or new stuff. They left it a little bit open-ended, which was pretty exciting to hear. They are going to create evergreen investigators to expand the card pool. There are going to be 5 new decks, so we got those in the original run of Arkham Horror, the card games. Those are the starter decks. I believe they used the terminology evergreen investigators. I don't know if that's something new that they are doing, or if that's just how it was presented here at the In-Flight Report. But they did announce those. There's Tommy Moldon, Carolyn Fern, Maria Lambeau, Miguel de la Cruz, and Andre Patel. And one of the cool things that they had talked about is that the designs of these investigators have been influenced through story beats that we have seen in previous Arkham Horror Arkham Horror scenarios. So like Andre Patel was in the film Fatality scenario. Fatality? Was it Fatality? That seems harsh. Anyways, that scenario pack that released at Gen Con this year, he was in that, and based on what happened in the film Fatality, whatever it is, influenced his character design. And that is not just the case for Andre. It does sound like a lot of the either revamped or new heroes we have seen in story beats before, and those story beats influence that design. I think that's just a really cool way, especially for a quote living card game. It does feel like we are kind of living and collaboratively telling a story. They said that we were going to get those pretty soon after the core set releases in spring. So we'll get those 5 Evergreen Investigators as well as the core set, so 10 Investigators in the spring. So big time for Arkham, and probably the reason that we're going to see a gap in the Champions release, and we'll talk about that here in a second. They did say that in summer we're getting a Children of Blood campaign, which is a 3-game campaign, so it's a little bit shorter of a campaign, and then later in the year we're getting Traces to Nowhere, the campaign pack. I cannot read my own handwriting. I was scribbling real fast. Traces to Nowhere campaign pack. They laid out the entire release schedule for 2026, which I really appreciated. So it doesn't sound like we're getting a big box campaign next year. I think the core set is kind of taking that slot, but we are getting a mini campaign as well as a scenario pack that you can slot into your Arkham library. So Arkham was pretty exciting. We had some Gamegenic talks where Adrian Alonso, the CEO of Gamegenic, came on and showcased some of the new Arkham Horror products that they are going to be releasing. They had a couple of I assume they're prototypes. They may actually be full finalized products there, but it's a big box that has spaces to hold 4 Investigator decks, a Gamegenic token tray, your books for your Arkham expansion, as well as cards to run the campaign. And so it's a I don't actually know how much of me is on camera right now, so if my hand is not on camera, I apologize. But it's a pretty decently sized box, and it looks like something that's going to be really good for saving a campaign, coming back to it later. Really premium stuff. Hoping that I can get my hands on one of those because those look pretty cool. And then they did say that there's going to be more to come, and I'm going to walk you through linearly chronologically, I guess is a better word, of how the in-flight report progressed, because that's how my notes are. So they said that he was going to come back out and talk a little bit more about the SWU stuff that is going to be happening. But let's talk about Champions, because this is, my favorite part of the announcement of the in-flight report, and where I think we'll be doing a lot of speculation. I was kind of expecting there to be a new core set. There is not. There's not going to be a new core set. Instead, they announced the most anticipated hero for Marvel Champions ever. Daredevil is coming to us for the Marvel Champions card game, along with a wave of street-level defenders, and I am so excited. They had a promo video, which I'll try and see if I can link to a specific time in a video, because the promo video was awesome. It was really cool. It started with like the heartbeat that Daredevil hears for his like echolocation-esque powers. Really well done video. But we're getting Daredevil and Echo in the Fear No Evil expansion. It's gonna be kind of cool. It is going to only have 3 villains, which I thought was an interesting take on the formula. So we get the 2 heroes as well as 3 villains. Now, typically we get 5 villains in each of those expansions, but we're getting 3 in this. So that means that we have 2 villains worth of card slots in a box, in like a 278 card box, that I don't know what they're going to be doing with. Now, we may see a reduction in the product size, and we may not just get more cards, but it piqued my interest to hear that there were only 3 villains in the box, and it's kind of exciting to start to speculate exactly on what those potential additional card slots are going to be going for. Is it going to be expanded campaign mechanics? Is it going to be more aspect cards? Are each of them going to come with 2 precons? Again, I have no knowledge about this. I am literally I just walked to the hotel, and this has been what's running through my mind. So as the last couple weeks have shown, I can't predict the future. No new car set, but it's fun to predict. They also announced that we are going to be getting an updated rules reference in December. So just in a couple of weeks, they're going to be posting a new rules reference. And so we'll probably have a video on the channel, going over and highlighting the major changes in the rules reference document. That being said, December is fairly busy, so it may come in a little bit later. We are getting Synthezoid Smackdown in December, which is the Civil War scenario pack that is following up the Civil War box, which is coming with She-Hulk and Vision as leaders. They did say that we're getting that in December. I assumed that they were referencing the North America or the United States market, because I know that like the UK still does not have the Civil War box, or at least the last time I talked with Villain Theory, they did not have that box. And so I'm assuming that Synthezoid Smackdown, it's been a long weekend, my friends, is coming out in the US, and I don't know more about that for outside of the United States. They announced that there's a beta environment coming. I don't know what a beta environment is. I thought it was going to be some way to introduce playtesters to the game. I've been chatting with some folks online through Discord that they were wondering if it was more of a second phase. We were in the alpha, now we're in the beta phase, similar to the 2.0 core set that Arkham got, revising and revamping into this new golden era phase. That could be it. I did get very little information outside of the announcement that we will be getting more information about what that beta environment is in December. And I'm hoping to set up an interview or two to kind of chat with the FFG team to understand what that is, because it was kind of a little like they kind of tossed it in at the end of a sentence, and I was like, well, that actually seems pretty interesting. And so I'm hoping that we'll get to sink our teeth in a little bit more here soon on what that beta environment is. But in 2026, we have a lot of products coming in Marvel Champions, and they laid out all of them, and we're going to walk through them. To give you the high-level overview, in 2026, we are getting 8 heroes, 1 big box where 2 of those heroes are coming in, so 6 hero packs, 1 big box with 2 heroes, 3 villains, as well as a scenario pack. There's a lot of product, especially in the later half of the year. So I'll throw up the timeline that they had on the screen for us, and it looks like we're getting spring-ish time frame. We're getting Hercules and Wonder Man, which have been released, and we have articles about those heroes. And then in the summer, we're getting the Fear No Evil expansion, the Daredevil and Echo heroes expansion that's coming to us in the summer. And so there's a pretty decent gap. My guess is that that's where a lot of the new Arkham stuff is coming. We get the core set, the 5 new Evergreen Investigators. My guess is that resources are being focused on Arkham, and then we have a heavier weighted back end half of 2026 for the Marvel Champions product line. That's my guess. But I'm so excited for street level Defenders. I freaking love Defenders. So yeah, we're getting Fear No Evil with Daredevil and Echo. I thought it was Elektra. It is not. It is Echo. 3 more villains. Then after that, we are getting Jessica Jones and Luke Cage. So looking forward to both of these characters. I know in the past on live stream we have speculated about how these Defenders may play mechanically, and I love Jessica Jones as a character, and I am so excited to see how they're going to do Luke Cage as a Marvel Champions hero, specifically mechanically. I don't know too much about Luke Cage's character, but I really enjoyed the Jessica Jones show, so I'm looking forward to her for thematics, and Luke Cage for mechanics as well as thematics. They're just cool, and they are sticking with the dual release schedule. So Jessica Jones and Luke Cage will be releasing together, it does sound like. Then after that, we're getting the Shadowland Scenario Pack, which is a scenario pack featuring the Hand, and the art on that promo picture that they put up was absolutely fantastic. I thought, there's just like this audible ooh, like when they put up the picture, and that was just really cool. And then at the latter half, or the last couple releases that we're getting for Champions, we are getting an Elektra and an Iron Fist pack. So they announced the entire product line for 2026. We have it. We know what's coming. One note that I had here is that they did not announce any redos of heroes. So back in the live stream a couple months ago, they talked about how they're going to be revisiting some of our older heroes in the game, maybe revamping them and revitalizing them for the current state of the game. We did not get any announcement for that, so I don't believe that is going to happen until at least 2027. That being said, this is again like wild speculation type time. They did announce for their board games what they're calling the Vault. So the Vault series is a way that FFG is going to be revisiting some of their old games through crowdfunding and not necessarily changing mechanics, but allowing people to buy in. And it's not a long-term production run, but you're going to be able to effectively crowdfund or kickstart GameFound, whichever platform they use, to go and get some of their older games. And I'm wondering if this is going to be a method that they then port over to the LCG model, so that, hey, we're not going to have the older waves 1 through 5 always running. It's honestly, it is a lot of products to keep up with and try and keep on store shelves. But if they say, we will stock and print the previous X waves, name your favorite number of waves, and everything before that, once a year, we're going to have a print-on-demand type system where you can go in on Kickstarter and order these products, and then we know exactly how much to order, and we don't need to try and forecast out a older product for printing. That just seems like a headache. I'm glad I don't have to do that, so I can understand them not wanting to do that, and kind of letting some of those older products go out of print. It is a little sad for the community when they cannot get Captain America, but I'm wondering if they're teeing up a way for us to get some of those older products. That's my hope. I have no knowledge if that is actually how it's going to happen, but that's my fingers crossed. Hopefully we can get Captain America back in the game. I am very excited to hear what your thoughts are on the new champion stuff that they announced. Are you excited for the heroes? Were you expecting something else? Let me know down in the comments, because I would love to continue the conversation, as well as expand on this conversation on Tuesday during the live stream for the PAX recap. We'll definitely be talking about champions then. So make sure you drop a comment. I'd love to talk more, but let's move on to board games. They announced that they are picking up the Zombicide and Cthulhu Death May Die. Asmodee was announced that they were taking those titles under their umbrella, and they just announced in this in-flight report that FFG is actually going to be the ones that are going to be heading up the development of that. They are keeping on the same designers, so if you are fans of those games, I've not played either of them, it doesn't sound like there's going to be necessarily a different design team working on them. They're just going to have the reach that Fantasy Flight currently has, and honestly, if I had no knowledge of the industry or who published these games, Cthulhu Death May Die and Zombicide, FFG would be in my top 3 guesses of who would be publishing those games, so I'm really glad that they found a home here at FFG. They did announce a new expansion for Star Wars The Deck Builder coming in 2026, so go Caleb, congrats, that's exciting. They released the Mandalorian pack here at PAX, which introduces a 3-player mode, which is kind of cool. If you have not checked out the deck building game, check it out. It's a fun one, but they are continuing to expand on the deck builder in 26. And then they capped it off with SWU. SWU is really big for them. They're having a good time with Star Wars Unlimited. They announced a Lawless Time. John Leo is the head designer. He also designed the Legends of the Force set, and so this is the same design lead for that set, and it looks cool. There are a couple of new mechanics. There's the split aspect, and so they announced Zeb from the Spectres, the Spectre crew, who is going to be a aggression, cunning, aggression, vigilance, heroism. So 3 tags on Zeb. They also announced Hondo Onaka, who is a legendary card coming in this new set, which is a cunning and vigilance tag. And I think this is going to be really fun for premier deck builds where you play like a standard game of SWU, but I'm most looking forward to these for the Twin Suns environment where you get access to a larger card pool. It's a singleton format, and I think that there's going to be a lot of fun like pairings with this red, blue, white card that can go into a Twin Suns deck. That's where I'm personally really excited to play these. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Hondo seemed crazy. He's a 5-drop, 2/7. At any time, you can look at the top card of your deck, and then once per round, you can play the top card of your deck. So you're effectively getting a higher hand size. You know what that top card is. So there are synergies already in the game that deal with having knowledge of what that top card is, and Hondo unlocks a lot of that, which is pretty cool. The Spotlight decks are going to be Alea versus Jabba. So that's going to be fun. Jabba introduces the other new mechanic that they're bringing into the game, which are credit tokens. It's a temporary resource. It's a one-time resource that you can discard to reduce the next cost of the card you play by 1 or action or whatever. Which is, a lot of TCGs have something like this. So I think it was something that would come eventually, and I think with like this underworld back alley deals, it's exactly where it needed to come with the credit mechanic. What I like about this is that you're going to be able to play some of those higher cost cards without sacrificing the game integrity of not being able to deploy your leader, if that makes sense. So like if you wanted to play a 9-cost card, you have to ramp into that 9-cost card, and then your leader would have to deploy earlier, and so there's a balance issue that comes along with that. And what you kind of see in a lot of the meta is that 9-cost cards just don't get played. And so with the credit tokens, you can bank those and you can get them out without needing to balance the, hey, my leader deploys on 6, so if we can ramp really easily to 9 to play this giant card, you're also going to make leaders just way faster to come out. And so like I think this is a really elegant solution to get some of those higher costed cards into the rotation of play. I'm a player who just loves to play the big cards, and so a lot of my decks will just stall out trying to play some of those big cards because it's really cool to have the Zillow Beast on the table. And I think now it's going to be a little bit easier for us to do that without, needing to play a 7-8 drop leader. Couple other things that they announced. They did announce that they are going to be updating the booster packs, and they're going to talk a little bit more about that in December, what that means. That's pretty much all they said. They said that they were going to take feedback from the community and update the booster packs going forward. No idea what that is. I don't even know how to speculate on what that is. Potentially maybe not having a base in every one. I don't know. Double-sided tokens, potentially? I don't even know. Love to hear what you all think on that as well. And then we did end the in-flight report with another Gamegenic announcement talking about how... Oh wait, hold on. Oh no, I totally forgot about the Twin Sun stuff. They announced that there are going to be new Twin Sun pre-con decks coming to us, I believe in the spring. I will have the timeline on screen, so if I misspoke, believe what they put on the screen and not what I say out of my mouth. But 4 new Twin Suns decks. And each one of these is going to come with a new leader, so that's going to be really exciting. But I also really like the idea of being able to easily step into the Twin Suns format. Building a Twin Suns deck is not the easiest thing to do. You have to have 80 unique cards. You have to synergize 2 leaders. And so being able to have a product where you can just buy a Twin Suns deck and sit down and play feels like a great opportunity for people to try it out and step in and enjoy multiplayer format. Twin Suns, probably my favorite way to play. So the decks that they announced, I'm going to rank these real quick on what I like. I'm going to go, the one that I'm least looking forward to is the Count Dooku Asajj Ventress deck, followed probably by, this is actually the order that they announced them. Anyways, by a Savage Press and Darth Maul deck. So those are going to be really fun to play together. Followed by a Anakin and Padme deck, so think like Clone Wars era time frame. And then the one that I am most excited for, you can tell by my shirt, I'm a huge fan of Ahsoka, and so they're going to be putting out an Ahsoka Rex deck, and that has been a Twin Suns deck that I've been wanting to build for a long time, and I just never got around to it, and now I'm just going to buy I call it a Spotlight deck, I don't know what they're going to call it, but the Twin Suns pre-con Ahsoka Rex deck. So I'm really excited about those. And then they did announce that in the fall they're going to be doing a new, I think it's Echo. I for some reason did not write it down. I think my hand was starting to hurt. They're doing a mini set, which is going to be a nice entry point that's focused on like the iconic characters and ships. And so I don't quite know a lot or much about what that means, but that is coming. That was a new set that was just announced. Gamegenic came out, talked about all the cool new sleeves as well as card binders and everything that they are putting out to support the SWU format. All in all, it was a really exciting in-flight report. I'm really excited for the Marvel Champion stuff. I'm really looking forward to hearing what that beta environment is and whether or not that is honestly what it is. I have no idea what it is. I'm happy. I'm looking forward to a lot of what FFG is doing. I'm really enjoying the expanded or I don't even know, better communication on what is coming out. I feel like the communication of FFG and their products has been elevated recently. They've been doing a lot of live stream. I feel like they're able to communicate with the community a lot better than they have in the past, and so for that I'm very appreciative. It does sound like they are going to be transitioning this in-flight report to PAX Unplugged going forward rather than Gen Con, which is where it has been historically. Which makes sense. There's a lot of information that comes out of Gen Con, and so having something for like PAX, this felt really special here. But yeah, awesome. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. I'm going to be talking more on the live stream on Tuesday at 1 p.m., so please make sure that you tune in for that if you want to hear more about PAX, all the cool games that I got here, and just the experience I'm having here in Philadelphia. I will be chatting about that on this channel Tuesday at 1 p.m. I look forward to seeing you all there. Thank you so very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.